You now are listening to the audio podcast of Prisoners of Hope, the antidote to what ails your heart. I'm your host, Dr. Deborah Whitson. So come on in, pull up a chair, and open up your mind as you get ready to receive the download that hope will bring. Well, hey, it is Dr. D, and it is a great day, and welcome to the Prisoners of Hope podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the evil one and the weapons the evil one uses to get you off course. If you look at First Peter, verse chapter 5, verse 8, it warns you. It says, Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. You know, if you know anything about lions, the female lion, she's the one that does all the hunting, okay? And let's say she's hunting a pack of gazelles. You know, she's kind of a lion of convenience because why go out of her way to pick the strongest in the pack? The lion will always pick, the lioness will always pick the gazelle that's limping behind, or maybe the young gazelle. Okay? So today we're going to look at our enemy. It's very important for us to know ourselves and our enemies. The first part of this series, I'm going to talk about the characteristics of the devil so you know you can recognize him when he approaches you, because he will several times a day, several times a moment. And then as the series goes on, I'm gonna talk about the specific weapons. So we're going to begin with the characteristics, then we're going to go to the weapon, and then we're going to go to your armor. What you could do, what God has given you, the way out He has given you to escape the arrows of the fiery one. So buckle your seatbelt and stay tuned. So let's jump in. Let's look at the characteristics or the character of the enemy. Sun Tzu, in The Art of War, many, many moons ago, wrote, If you know your enemy and yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. So, those are wise words from an old Chinese philosopher. In this series, we are going to examine the enemy, your number one enemy. No, I'm not talking about your mother-in-law or that mean coworker that you have to deal with, or that mean girl at school, or that bully that takes your lunch money. No, I'm not talking about them. We're going to spend time in this series learning all about our number one enemy, the devil. In First Peter chapter 5, verse 8, we see that the devil prowls, which means that he lurks. I looked up some synonyms for the word prowl. Lurks, stalks, lies in waiting, creeps around. He prowls. He also steals. He wants to steal your joy, your hope, your life, your love, your health, your destiny, all the things that God intended you to have in His kingdom. He wants to take all of that from you. He also disguises himself. He's a master of disguises. Matter of fact, he disguised himself as the angel of light. I want to share this experience with you. I was in San Diego, and that's where I went to undergraduate in the 70s. I'm dating myself. Yes, in the 70s, before the internet, I went to college, and this one girl in this class invited me to her church. And I had kind of fallen away from God. Not kind of, I had. Not reading my Bible, not praying. I mean, maybe Christmas and Easter, the special holidays that you feel obligated to do that. That's all I was doing. So I decided, hey, raised as a good little Christian girl, I decided it was time to get back. That pull, that calling is always in your heart, okay? That's why the Bible says raise a child in up in the way and they will not fall from it. That's my way of saying it, but the Bible says it a little more elegantly than that. But I wanted to share this with you and show you how God makes a way out. At the time, I was running marathons, and so which means I could run at least 26. I could run 26 miles at the most, right? And so this one girl, she invited me to church, and I said, "Oh, sure." And it was, I think, up in the Julian Mountains. I can't remember. It was a long way from home, actually 33 miles away from where I lived. And it was the Church of the Angel of Light. Now, when I heard that, I thought, you know how something in the back of your mind, you're like, I recognize that. Or like when you see somebody you know, but you can't figure out where you know them or place them. Angel of Light. I'm like, I heard that in Bible study. And so I went to this church and you guys, I kid you not, it smelled like dirt. It smelled like dirt. The whole the walls and everything smelled like dirt. It was a church of Satan. And when I realized, I excused myself to go to the bathroom and I ran 30 miles all the way home. I could have won a marathon race. I think I had the best time ever because I realized it was a church of Satan, the angel of light. It was a pretty scary experience. So he is a deceiver. He disguises himself as a person of light. He lies. Often he carries the appearance of truth. He packages it so that many people will believe that truth that he's telling you. And I'm putting truth in finger quotes, air quotes in the air. It is a thin shell of the truth stuffed with a lie. I used to listen to, what was his name? I can't think of his name. I having a brain freeze. But it was a guy on the radio in LA at night, talk radio, and he was a comedian. And what he would do, he would come on and he had these characters that he would do, different voices, and he always said, "I respect my listeners as the callers I have a question about," because Phil Henry was his name. I knew it would come to me. And Phil, he would say something that made sense, then all of a sudden it would be a left turn. It wouldn't make any sense at all. Like he said, well, men who are bald, uh, they have problems with ED. And he had men calling and screaming at him and women calling and screaming at him because that's what he did. He sounded like he was an informative radio host talking about some topics that people are interested in, and all of a sudden he would take a left turn, start with the truth, end with a lie. That's what Satan does. He lies. He lies. He lies. That is his nature. If you listen to him, your pants are going to be on fire. You ever heard the saying, liar, liar, pants on fire? Your pants are going to be on fire if you listen to him, okay? He looks to destroy and devour everything. He's a destroyer. He wants to take your heart. He wants to take your fortune. He wants to destroy your life. If he can't get at you, he'll come through you, through your best friend, through your family. He is a destroyer. Okay? He also is the father of lies. He just lies, lies, lies. That is the language he uses. God cannot tell a lie, and Satan can't tell the truth. That is his nature. If you listen to him, not only your pants will be on fire, your life will be on fire. Continuing with the characteristics of the enemy, I want you to know that Satan is a fallen angel. One third of the angels revolted against God along with Satan, and they were thrown out of heaven to earth, which is Satan's domain, okay? He is a fallen angel that rebelled against our Holy Father. He has temporary power. God gives the devil temporary power over the fallen world and his demons in it. It's only temporary power. He's very cynical about human goodness. He hates everything that God the Father created. He hates humans because God the Father loves humans the most. After all, he gave his only son to be sin for a sinful world. So God really loves humans, which makes Satan put us on his number one to hate list, okay? He's always trying to test God's authority. But remember, his power is temporary. He's manipulative, okay? He manipulates matter. He can, and weather. He can do that, and patterns, because he does have domain over our world. He can influence legal proceedings. So some of you have been the victim of that, and he can infect people with diseases if God lets him. See the story of Job if you want to hear more about that. He's hierarchical, hierarchical. Say that fast 5 times, which basically means is that he is not above God. The devil's domain is hierarchical. He is not greater than God. He has no power over the Father. Okay? He's tenacious. Tenacious means that he's spunky, he's steadfast, he's strong willed, stubborn, tough, and unwavering. He's very tenacious. However, he is not creative. He doesn't create new ways to come after people. One of the number one things that Satan asks you, who do you think you are? I mean, he even asked Jesus, and we'll examine later in the series the conversation that Jesus had with Satan during those 40 days he was in the wilderness. He is tenacious, not creative. God creates, the devil destroys. Don't get confused. Well, guys, to review, basically, the devil's a liar. He's a deceiver. He has to come under the authority of God. He has temporary power. He is a master disguiser. All the bad things. That's what the devil is. And part two of this series on the weapons that the enemy uses against you, we're going to look at some specific weapons that the devil uses. Okay. And we're going to, in the third part of this series, look at strategies that God have given you, that Jesus used himself to fight the devil. Well, I'm hoping that this journey has been good for your heart. Stay tuned for part two and part three. God bless. My hope is that this journey has been fruitful and you're able to take it and apply it to your life. Until next time, tune in again for the Prisoners of Hope podcast. God bless.